welcome to today's episode of Sound Off. Today we're interviewing Mayor Jim Diodati. Jim has served in Niagara as mayor for 13 years in a row. Just a little history on Jim. He was first elected in 2010. Going to take it over to Jim and ask him, Jim, what inspired you actually to become mayor and run for mayor, and what has fueled you to keep going?
Well, I can tell you, I never planned ever to get into politics. I just kind of walked into it. I was an entrepreneur for 25 years. I owned and operated different businesses, and right from university on. And I really love that, and at heart, I am an entrepreneur. And I started volunteering with the city, and I started to see some things that City Council was doing, and I established an interest. And I don't know, one day the seed was planted, and I decided, I thought, you know, I'm gonna run. But if I'm gonna run, I want to make a difference. And I don't want to just take up a seat to keep a seat warm. I want to make an actual difference. And I thought, you know, if I can help make the city better for my kids, I've got 3 kids, I could help make it better for everybody's kids and their grandkids. We're so famous, such a powerful, iconic brand. As a tourist attraction, they didn't realize there's an actual city that exists with residents. So, and it's like a lot of kids, I thought, if I'm not in tourism, what am I doing in Niagara Falls? So I thought, maybe I can help change that. Maybe I can diversify our economy. Maybe I can help us go from good to great. And maybe, you know, I can add some of the little bits and pieces I picked up along the way, and I can be part of a team at City Council. So here I am, and why do I do it? I love it. I would do it for free. I jump out of bed every day to do my job. And if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. I can promise you that, because when I don't like something, I don't do it. And when one of my businesses, I start to lose interest, I sell it, I move on. And I still love this after 13 years, and I'm lucky. I got a great team, great town. We got some great things happening, and so that floats my boat.
What would you say are your future aspirations for Niagara Falls?
Well, I can tell you personally, I love my job as mayor, and I have no intention of running for any other level of office. When I leave this, or when I'm asked to leave, whichever happens first, I'll just go back to working for myself. I think that's what my true love for the city. The opportunity is incredible. Although we're currently Canada's #1 leisure destination, 14 million people, and it's so important, and people ask, is tourism important to you in Niagara Falls? And I always say, well, it's up there with oxygen. You know, 40,000 people count on tourism to feed their families. And although that's good, I think we could become great. We've got one of the great natural wonders next to us over my shoulder. Niagara Falls, you cannot go anywhere in the world, and I've been in many places around the world, you cannot find a place where they don't know Niagara Falls. You never have to explain. It's a place with rocks and water going and mist and rainbows. The minute you say Niagara Falls, it's instant brand recognition. So I think 14 million, we should be getting 25 million. When I look at Las Vegas, which is in the middle of a desert, they get 40 million. I look at Orlando, I look at Florida, in a swamp originally, 60 million. We're within a day's drive of half the population of North America. We can do better. And I think in some ways we haven't had to, because we've got that great water that keeps flowing, and all day long, that's the number of reason you're gonna come here. I think we can do things better, and we're working on some plans to utilize our assets and our strengths to take this to the next level, and I'm very focused on trying to do just that.
Jim, if you can just share the interesting story we've heard about China and Niagara Falls.
So a former premier was telling me a story, and we're talking about the popularity of Niagara Falls, and I never really truly appreciated at all how big this brand was and how famous this city was. I had no idea. I mean, here, I had friends at university laughing that I'm from Niagara Falls, not knowing how famous. So when I go to all the schools and I visit all the schools, I tell them, you live in one of the most famous cities on this planet. And this premier was in Beijing and telling us the story, addressing thousands of business people, trying to explain, I'm the premier of Ontario. So the first thing is, what's a premier and where's Ontario? So he goes on to say, you know, our province has got 15 million people, thinking that would be impressive. And of course, they're not too impressed, because they've got cities with almost as many people as our country has. And then he went on to say, and I have big cities like Toronto with 4.5 million people, and still no reaction. And he's looking over at the translator wondering, are they not understanding, or is the translator not getting it straight, or are they just not impressed? He said, and I said, the CN Tower? He goes, nothing, it was falling flat. They're sitting there with their arms crossed. He goes, so finally I panicked. I didn't know what to say. I just blurted out, I have Niagara Falls. He goes, the crowd stood up, standing ovation. They wouldn't sit down. And I laughed and I said, exactly. That's how they react to Niagara Falls. It's so famous. And they all say things like, before I die, one day, or it's on my bucket list, or we wrote a poem in our country about your famous waterfall. Here, 20% of the world's fresh water sits in the 5 Great Lakes, and they flow from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario over the falls. This place is magical. The Indigenous knew about it a long time ago. You feel the energy when you're here, and I think we got some great opportunity to really let the world know that we can do it a little better, and I think that can result in bigger numbers visiting us in Niagara Falls.
Since we're in the Christmas season and we're in the Cavalcade of Lights here in Niagara, the beautiful Festival of Lights, perhaps, Jim, you can elaborate a bit about what is in store for all of us who come to visit.
Well, today was an exciting day. So we had our Santa Claus parade. It ended at City Hall. We lit up the Christmas tree, and we do it every year for our hospital foundation to raise money for our hospitals here in Niagara. And then tonight we lit up 3 million lights, 75 animated displays all along the parkway. And the beauty is it's free. Anyone, you can jump in your car. And when my kids were little, it's kind of how we got into the Christmas spirit each year. We get the van, we go buy a big box of Timbits, and we just drive along and look at all the beautiful lights and twinkling and sparkling. And one of my favorite times to come is when there's a dusting of snow. And you know, here in Niagara Falls we have mist, and depends on what way the wind blows. On a cold day, that mist will come and freeze. It'll look like a winter wonderland, like an ice palace, and the trees are coated, and the fences and the buildings are coated, and you get that white dusting of snow. And as you drive and you see those millions of lights, it literally is magical. It's like a dream, like a wonderland. And when people come, they're just mesmerized. And we're more than a one-season town. We used to be a summer season. Now all 4 seasons do well. And this Festival of Lights is something that's so great. Even during COVID, people could come because you could safely watch it from your car, or you can get out and walk amongst the lights. There's a lot of animated displays, and it's a really, really fun thing for people to do, and it's good for all ages.
The Niagara Falls Winter Festival of Lights is back, with 51 nights of over 3 million twinkling lights and new interactive displays. Over 17 hot chocolate stops. A special falls illumination every night. And 26 nights of fireworks. Canada's largest free outdoor lights festival is on from November 18th until January 7th. Learn more at WFOL.com.
If you could elaborate for our viewers on how they could participate in donating to your healthcare to help your hospitals in Niagara?
So it's the Niagara Health Foundation, and if they just simply Google that, they would find it. And this year we had our, as I say, our Christmas tree that we light up every year, and we had a local electricity company donate $10,000, and we're right in the middle actually of building a new hospital here in Niagara Falls. It's going to be a $3.6 billion center of excellence. We broke ground with the Premier earlier this year, and in the community we have to raise $100 million, and we're $63 million along the way. So we're doing very, very well. So $37 million to go, and we're on our way. So anyone that wants to help, support, put their name on some part of the hospital, Niagara Health Foundation, and you'll find all the details right there.
Beautiful. And the location of the hospital will be?
It's going to be in Niagara Falls, out on the Queen Elizabeth Way, and Lions Creek Road, which is a major interchange going toward Fort Erie, because Niagara Falls is growing rapidly right now, south and west. So it's in a place that in 20 years will be probably the center of the city. And it's funny, the old hospital, you wonder why is it there? Well, at one time it was the center of the city, but the way we're growing, and that old hospital was built in 1958. So it's time for an upgraded, updated hospital, center of excellence, and it'll be a center of excellence for aging, cardiac, and some other disciplines. So we'll be happy it'll be built in about 4 to 5 years, and then we'll have a much better hospital situation.
You've had a few film festivals here in the past.
Yeah, so of course the famous Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF, is so well known around the world, and I've been lucky enough to be there a number of times and participate. And oh, there's the fireworks. Perfect timing. Look at this. And I've been, I don't know if you want me to keep talking or watch the fireworks. So Toronto has the Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF, very famous around the world, one of the most famous film festivals in the world, and I've been lucky enough to attend some of the premieres there. Well, Bill Marshall, one of the founders of TIFF, was trying to start off NIF, God bless his soul, he's passed on, but Niagara International Film Festival, and we were trying to replicate, duplicate, and do the same thing here in Niagara Falls because of the international draw of Niagara Falls, and you know, when you travel around the world, you realize how famous it helps you market something when you've got a big brand attached to it. So I like to say we're like the Coca-Cola of municipalities. So we did have the film festival. It did do well, but for a number of different reasons, it didn't get off the way it should have. And I'm told at the time it was sponsorship issues. So Niagara Falls, it's just one of those natural places. When you do something, it's bigger. When Nick Wallenda walked across the falls, we had 1 billion people tune in a 24-hour period. It's because he did it over Niagara Falls. He did it over the Grand Canyon. His numbers were nowhere near the same. And he said to me, he goes, you know, I did things backwards. I should have saved Niagara Falls for my finale. But, you know, he didn't. So when things happen here, they're bigger. I mean, we get world leaders visiting us. I had Vladimir Zelensky before the war come and visit me with his wife, Olena. Again, he wasn't here because of me. He was here because of that magical cascading water. And he came here with his wife, and he was just so in awe. And I've got great pictures of him taking selfies with his wife, and I made him honorary mayor of the day, put my chain of office on him. I said, I now make you mayor. And he said, oh, thank you, thank you. I said, yes, I'd like to complain about the property taxes and the roads. I'm not happy about, he goes, oh, here, take it back, I don't want it. So I've been blessed and fortunate enough to meet some really, really interesting people, whether they're performing at the casino or they're in Toronto or New York, and they just come here to take in the amazing place.
Well, I'm told that James Cameron once visited, and I believe Robert Vaughn and a few other celebrities.
Yeah, so an interesting thing, James Cameron grew up in Niagara Falls. He went to elementary school and he went to high school in Niagara Falls, Stanford High School, yeah. And a really, really famous guy. And of course, you know, he was in high school when he was doing his drawings for some of his great movies, like Alien and Terminator and you know, later Titanic and now Avatar. Real famous guy from Niagara Falls. And as a matter of fact, he's from the south end of Niagara Falls known as Chippewa. And if you drive to Chippewa on the side of the road, you'll see a sign on the Marineland Parkway. It says home of James Cameron. Chippewa, home of James Cameron. So yeah, he grew up here, and in fact, he came and did a drone show and a premiere for his latest Avatar movie. Of course, the theme is water, and we've got a little bit of water, and he may have been inspired by the water that was in his backyard. We also had Marilyn Monroe was here in 1953, where she filmed her famous movie Niagara. So she was here with a number of other celebrities. In fact, right downtown across from City Hall is the original building that she filmed one of her major scenes in. We've had Winston Churchill here. Winston Churchill said the drive along the parkway between here and Niagara on the Lake is the prettiest Sunday drive in the world. So we've been blessed and fortunate. We've had a lot of incredible people come here to visit. Do you hear the claps? Yes. Everybody's cheering for the fireworks. Yes. That happens instantaneous. It's our way of saying added value. Thank you for coming, and it's our way of saying we appreciate it. Thank you.
Right. Just for our viewers relating to the claps, we're just above the Watermark restaurant with the mayor, and those were the applause that you just heard from the people dining downstairs in the Watermark, which, by the way, has this absolutely beautiful view that we're all enjoying?
So honeymoon suite, of course, because we have honeymoon suites here. Niagara Falls, one of our monikers used to be honeymoon capital of the world. You know, we've had lots of different slogans and taglines, and of course, you know, we're known for the heart-shaped tubs and all the other fun things that go along with the honeymoon. So honeymoon suite right here from Niagara Falls. And when I was in university, they were big. They were hot in the 80s, and everyone was asking, oh, wow, you know honeymoon suite. So Johnny D, of course, went to the same high school I did. They were known as Lennox before that, and then, of course, honeymoon suite. So they gave him the key to the city a long time ago in the 80s. And at some point, when we had him play for our centennial, our 100th birthday in 2004 for the city, we had him play out in the park in front of the falls. And he said, you know, I was given the key to the city a long time ago, but we lost it. Do you think it's possible? I said, leave it with me. So we gave him another key to the city. And I've given some neat notables. I've given it to Howie Mandel. I've given it to William Shatner, Trish Stratus. We've had a few notables come and get the key to the city. But yeah, great guy here from Niagara Falls. So we've had a little bit of talent come out of the city. You know, another thing, little known fact, or a lot of people that follow history will know, Niagara Falls, we were the site of one of the battles of the War of 1812. In fact, the bloodiest battle ever fought on Canadian soil happened right here in Niagara Falls at the Battle of Lundy's Lane. And up on the Battle of Lundy's Lane site, we've got a cemetery where there's a lot of notables buried from that wartime, including Laura Secord. So the area is very famous, and of course, not that we celebrate battles, but outcomes. And the outcome has been more than 200 years of peace, 200 years of the world's largest unmilitarized border. And you know, and that goes, I think, a long way to showing other nations how you play together nicely in the sandbox. And here we were enemies, and now we're cousins. And I think that is just such a wonderful testament, especially when I look from here, I can see Niagara Falls, New York. And a lot of people don't know there are two Niagara Falls. In fact, I've traveled in the US where people have said to me, I thought you're Canadian. I said, I am Canadian. Well, how can you be the mayor of Niagara Falls and they don't realize? I said, Niagara Falls, Canada. Niagara Falls, Canada is, the advantage we have is we have a better view of the falls. They may have the falls, but we get to look at it. And as a result, you know, it means we have more tourists on our side. So a lot of neat, interesting facts about this place. And I'll leave you with one last interesting fact. Niagara Falls is the site with the highest concentration of naturally occurring negative ions anywhere in the world. Negative ions happen where there's fast and free-flowing water. And we've got a little bit of water. 20% of the world's fresh water, in fact, that flows over the falls. And negative ions are positive in nature. They give you energy, vitality, well-being, healing. And we always say, so when you're here and you feel a kick in your step, it's the benefits, the area is saturated in negative ions. People will come from around the world to take in the negative ions, watch the rainbow, feel the mist at their face, see the sun beaming on them. It's a special place, and it's our way of saying, thanks for making a donation at one of our casinos.
Are you trying to beat Hazel McCallan's record for Mississauga for longest standing mayor?
When I turned 50, 8 years ago, we had a big roast at the casino, and we got video from a lot of people talking about me. So we went to a conference, and they went up to her, and she had her bright yellow dress, and they said, Hazel, and they got this on film, Hazel, would you like to wish a happy birthday to Jim Diodati? And she looks at the camera and says, who's that? And then they, oh no, and then we play this in front of, you know, we had 1,000 people. And so they all laugh, which is the whole idea, it's a roast. And then they said, oh, well, he's the mayor of Niagara Falls. And she goes, oh, the mayor? Well, what a prestigious title. And of course, I wish him all my best. And I'm so happy for him. And then she said, how old is he? And they said, he's 50. And she goes, 50? I got underwear older than him, you know. So we got it all on film. It was all right. The people, she would play. She was a lot of fun, Hazel. Love her. Loved her, yeah.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we want to thank you for your time, for coming out. And from everybody, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And blessings to you, your city, and also your family.
Thank you very much. And thank you for promoting our fair city. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome to the beautiful Hilton Niagara, where you overlook the falls and the beautiful cascade of lights.
Depending which restaurant you're sitting in or where your hotel suite is, because it's the Horseshoe Falls.
It is. The Canadian Falls are far prettier than the American Falls. Sorry, Americans, just the way it is.
But you can see the American Falls from here.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, and are we going to go check out those lights? What were all those lights?
Yes.
I thought they put up a special, they said, hey, come to Niagara, we'll put some special lights up for you.
That's right,
Is that
and they did. They put up over 3 million lights for us, and we're going to show you some of those beautiful spectacles very soon. Coming
What
up
was the budget
next.
on that? $1 a light?
Oh, a lot of money, I'm sure. Lots and lots
But
of
they are
dollars.
LEDs, so it's very low wattage. Well, they got lots of hydro here, don't they?
A lot of hydro, immense amount of hydro. I think they have something called Niagara Falls, which generates how many kilowatts per second? More than you can count.
Well, there's a lot of water that comes over there too.
Yes, 20% of all of Ontario's natural water. Imagine that, 20%. That's huge.
Okay,
Huge.
well, let's wrap this up.
Okay,
We'll see you on.
see you at the Festival of Lights.
Wait a minute. I want to go see Santa.
We can go see Santa. We can
Oh,
see Santa.
Okay.
We-
And are
and
there,
Mrs. Claus.
oh, forget Mrs. Claus.
She'll be there too.
But what about those bears or what is it?
The polar bears?
No, Woody and all those guys that are going to be there.
Oh, yeah. We get to see Woody.
I
We
hope
get to
so.
see Jesse. We get to see Buzz
Well,
Lightyear.
And I hope they have Barney the dinosaur.
Yeah, I think he shows up. A
Oh.
sneak episode of Barney.
Okay, Barney, my friend Barney. Barney.
Every year, very nice.
We're here every year.
Every year.
Us, a few other friends of different princesses, other mascots of our friends.
Cool, very nice. And Jesse, what about you?
Well, I gotta say my favorite part's probably this beautiful tree behind us. I just love all the colors and love saying hi to all my friends. Here's one of them now.
Oh, there's Louie.
Oh, and there's Rex.
There's
How's it
Rex.
going,
Hey
Rex?
guys. Oh, we got the
Good
dinosaur.
to see
He
you.
hates confrontation.
Hey,
Don't
where's
we all?
Barney?
We're at the Festival of Lights for 2023. Get an opportunity, come on down and see it. It's worth the drive to Niagara.